green. Oh nice, Tempires has picked colours. Not just boring old blue and red. Man, I don't mean to be too critical of it, but it's a bit slack seeing the same player colours every single game. So, Tempires has done us the honours of picking something other than blue versus red. So we've got orange versus red, which is probably the one most criticizable colour combo other than yellow and orange because of how similar they are. How hard it is to make them tell them apart if you're colourblind. I'm not, thankfully, but a few of the players are. So we've got Tempires here as Babylonian in the orange. That's the host of our game. We've got Verhuver here as the red Persian player. So we're here mountain crossing our players, having these lakes at the rear side of their bases. And it looks as though it's going to be hard for Tempires to say mess with Verhuvers, because that wood wall-off's really nice. Verhuver, on the other hand, is a really nice opportunity to go for proxy dock. I mean, Tempires technically can. There is this gap here to sneak in with the villager and not get caught. Although once the dock gets built, I think that line of sight should all be revealed. So, yeah, Verhuver's been a little bit luckier there. Although, in theory, you could muck around coming all the way through here and sneak one. I don't know if we're going to see proxy dock. It used to be really, really common on this map. Particularly if our players had more open wood lines around the dock, around the water than this. The other thing that tends to decide the game early on is this, the central lake. It's quite a large map though, so trying to rush each other, it's pretty slow. It's always the one sort of position for the spawns though, so it is an easier map to try and actually just blindly spear rush for that. But yeah, it is a bit of a bigger map. So by the time you rock up, your opponent's usually pretty well defended, usually going 2 or 3 fishing boats, then aging up. And the players tend to just play fairly standard from there. You might occasionally see some proxying with land buildings, like chucking them up here, here, you know, putting them just on the edges of players' bases. Try and actually contain all these resources, forcing your opponent to have to spread out a lot. Because it is a big map and you can play very expansively, but the harder you know, it's harder to defend once you do. Players just scouting out. Looks like you can cross over there. Bit of a weird lake, this one. So right now, Tempires, 3rd fishing boat, Verhuver. Well, Tempires is going to 4 straight away. Verhuver's just looking to age up by the looks of things. We'll start gathering the stone. Getting the storehouse for it there. This is pretty creative from Verhuver though. He hasn't got to worry about a wood storehouse. And Tempires is pretty much doing the same thing here. Tempires down on score a little bit, but he's been pumping out the fishing boats, so he will start to creep ahead a little bit, I think, at one point. So he should actually be up on Vilpop, because he does have the ox cart. And right now he's actually got an extra... Oh no, both boats are on 3 boats. I didn't see Verhuver's 3rd. The Tempire's gone up to 4. So yeah, Tempires should actually be 2 Vilpop ahead. And, you know, even with the even age up. So I think he's actually slightly slow with the villager. One point there. But his Pop's big lead over Verhuver at the moment. He's trying to get the stone, but he's also started gathering gold, which is... This is perhaps a bit early. Like, he hasn't spent any gold on hunting dogs or net lures. Well, he's got 150 in the bank. That's quite a bit. He might be getting handsaw, might be getting net lures. We'll see. But even still, like, that's enough of a buffer there, that 150 gold, to not need any early on. Like, handsaw's 25, net lures is 20, hunting dogs is 50. You can get all 3 of those and still have enough in the bank to produce like a unit or... Oh, here we go. This is very smart from Verhuver. I don't think Tempires... Oh, he's just seeing it now. So Tempires is gonna want to cram out a biome, cancel the net lures and just get the biome as soon as this house is finishing up, I think. Because he was a bit slow there. His fishing boat paved around, he saw it, but I don't think he actually, like, saw it. He only revealed it in line of sight, so he didn't manage to actually kill the villager. If you've got 3 or 4 boats, sometimes if you catch the dock early enough, you can kill the villager before he finishes building it. So it's been a big risk there from Verhuver, but it's paid off for him. I don't know what he's done with the villager though. Did Verhuver just delete the villager? Oh no, I'm on Tempires revealment. There we go. So Verhuver with the galley, but at the same time he's having to fight against a bireme. The galley's a little bit more expensive for pretty similar stats, and Tempires has the fishing boats there to repair each other and his bireme. Though this is interrupting his fishing, so Verhuver's helping slow Tempires down, but at the same time he is trailing on score. He's overgathered a bit on the stone here. He really needs to probably cut that and just get these guys straight on the wood. Because, yeah, Verhuver's way overgathering stone at the moment. So Tempires, this is really slowing down his fishing, but he's still got plenty of food in the bank because I think he's just stayed on the hunts. He hasn't got any gardens yet, but he's been doing a little bit of hunt gathering. And he's going to go to the central lake. So is Verhuver though. I don't think either player is aware that the other player is on this central lake. Oh yeah, Tempires is actually going to know in advance this time, but Verhuver will probably have seen that villager. We probably will see it eventually. No, I think he might have missed it. So it looks like Verhuver's pushed Tempires off the water here. He's had to invest in the galleys though, and his eco... Oh, he's still overgathering a lot of stone. You know, he's ahead, but I think that resource gap, that's 400 extra stone he doesn't really need at this stage. Tempires has got the quickest second town center. Ville count's 35 to 30, so Verhuver does have the fishing advantage, but eventually Tempires, if he can hold the central water, he's got more food, so he can actually boom up harder. Like there's 5 schools of fish as opposed to 3. So, and double Lancer production starting soon. Archery range here for Verhuver, so unfortunately he's probably best off going barracks here. Tempires. I don't know how I feel about opening double stables against Persia. Like I think maybe stables barracks or stables range, depending on what you think your opponent's going to go. Might be the way to go, but at the same time it's going to mean he can cover this map really, really easily. Which is, you know, on a map like this size, raiding units, your cavalry and like your Celt infantry and that sort of thing do have a fair bit more going for them than they do on the smaller maps, I think. Triple Lancer production for Tempires. He's really eager to just maybe get age 3 from here and just get Lancer champion. Maybe get some harass done before then. Verhuver, it's been an expensive investment here. Although, oh, Tempires is going to try and go for the proxy dock here, though he needs to queue up the bireme ASAP and he hasn't got the wood. It's going to interrupt a bit of Verhuver's gathering here. He's bringing villagers to help tear down the dock. In fact, he's bringing an awful lot. He's going to get the dock in time. The bireme's not going to be possible, but it's only going to cost Tempires 150 wood doing this. And Verhuver's going to spend pretty much, maybe not quite that, maybe close to, considering he's brought a lot of his economy to a standstill here. Tempire's going to start bringing the Lancers across, and these guys are going to trade really well against Bowmen and against, well, Spara. Maybe not so much against the Spears until they get their champ upgrade. But even under TC fire, 4 Lancers is, or 6 Lancers is going to fight against a similar number of Bowmen pretty easily. So triple Lancer production. He's adding an armory. Verhuver at this stage, just that archery range. He hasn't even started another barracks yet. It's only really just hit the wood, because when you're spending the wood to get the bowmen out, you're also, you know, making it harder to then add another barracks or 2 or 3. Or even a stables. Like, I think Asabara marginally win the fight against Lancers in Age 2. Like, there's not a big gap. And in Age 3, once they've got the champ upgrades, I'm pretty sure it comes down to whoever, well, how many charges the Lancer gets. If it's only 1 or none, I think it goes towards the Asabara, but if it's more than that, I think it does favour the Lancers. So, Verhuver's spears now just starting to pour out. He's on 46 vils to Tempires 51. Tempires is really on the being able to start hitting the eco now. Might be able to get a villager or 2, but there is aid tent for the Persia player. It always makes it a little bit easier to defend, because if your opponent weakens a lot of villagers without killing them, like we're seeing, it means you can actually top them up. All Verhuver has to do is sort of shuffle them into the TC with garrisons. This fight is actually quite a good fight for Tempires, even though he's fighting against spears and bowmen. He's going to be able to cut through everything. And he's still able to keep adding stuff. He can even get his own bowman at this point, which is nice. He can either go temper or shield rim in this position. Verhuver adding in more barracks and a stables. Nice micro of these villagers though. He's doing his best to keep them alive. He's really starting to thin out this Lancer count now. The Tempire is pulling ahead on population, not even killing any vils at this point. 57 vils to 53, so he can afford to at this stage. If he gets a couple of villager kills. Oh, and the Lancers coming in strong. Triple production. He's even adding in a couple of bows. He probably wants to start... Oh, probably wants to park them here, just outside of TC range, and then just try and kite spearmen into them. So I think is what he's going to start doing now that he's got a couple of them. Verhuver in the meanwhile, double spear production. Hasn't yet started Asabara production, but he's got it available to him with that stables. Only the 1 range there for Verhuver. In this position, it's probably not wise to jump straight up to 2. Oh, he's Tempires throwing away a couple of Lancers there. Great for Verhuver, he's topping up his units with the aid tent as soon as this is all finished. Double aid tent there. Actually, is going to be really, really nice. Make it very hard to raid Verhuver's gold. And if he finishes that berry storehouse, same thing. It's going to get increasingly difficult. The player's still fighting it out over the water. Tempire is able to do fishing behind this. But Verhuver, just going to start smashing out galleys, so Tempires might want to start adding some more biremes of his own there. Verhuver fishing at the back of Tempire's base. And Tempire's going for another forward dock himself. If he keeps this army alive here, it can actually be of great benefit to him. Verhuver will actually see this dock, but he's under that much pressure at the moment. He's trying to keep the galley alive up here. He's trying to make sure he doesn't actually get killed here. Tempires, though, he's going to need everything to actually fight these spears, because otherwise they're going to cut through his Lancers really, really quickly here. No Asabara yet for our Persia player. Tempires having a retreat there, but he has managed to start chipping away at this water eco, but there's only one more school of fish here. Verhuver didn't even have these fishing boats gathering, I don't think. Oh no. Yeah, he's only just finished up that water. So has Verhuver got enough spearmen here? I think he might do. He's actually bringing an awful lot of infantry in here, but the bowman count for Tempires is quite solid, considering he's had that later range on his opponent. Asabara production starting for our Persia player though. So Tempire is going to want to make sure he can add barracks in this situation. No, a third range, probably not the ideal way to go here, I don't think, because, oh no, Verhuver's just adding another barracks, not another stables. He can read Verhuver's mind and I can't. Verhuver walling himself in. So, Tempires hasn't got the healing tech, he hasn't got pharmacology. So he's not going to reap the benefit of that at the moment. Got a lot of low units, so it might actually start becoming increasingly worthwhile. He still has a pop lead over Verhuver though. So 71 vils to 70. Pretty even in terms of eco. Tempires probably wants to push Verhuver on the gold or something here now. Tempires will be looking to take out this dock. Verhuver doesn't realise there's actually still more fish here. And then meanwhile at the top here, it looks like Verhuver's actually won the lake back. So a lot of idlers there for him because he's going to have to transfer from one gold to the other. But right now Tempires trying to find a way to pressure Verhuver here. There is another gold at the top there. Another 2 golds actually. Another range being added by Verhuver. Tempires has a pretty solid pop lead here at the moment, but he's going to need to clear out a lot of structures here to actually start hurting Verhuver. He's got plenty of population space. So taking out these houses is all well and good, and these production facilities, but you need to make sure you're not losing units. Because Verhuver is going to sit back, turtle up, get a few more bowmen in the mix, and eventually push out once that pop gap closes a little bit. Looks as though Verhuver now restarting his fishing, so he's managed to control all 3 lakes here over Tempires. Be a big eco swing his way now. Tempires still actually leading on villager count, but he's just got nowhere near as much in the bank. And having to make this transition to farms and get picker's gloves. Actually, Verhuver's already got a couple of those eco techs. Our players on pretty even footing when it comes to ecotechs. No plow yet for Tempires. Tempires, I think he really could do with pharmacology at this point though. Because saving those lances will be much more than 200 resources of value. So you probably look at taking that as soon as age 3 finishes, I'd imagine. Verhuver setting up for this to go to late game. Double walls. It's just such a Verhuver thing to just double wall this early into the game. He's just such a good defensive player, it's unreal. He's got a massive bank, and that he's got so much stone in the bank. Why has he got 2 villages on stone? Verhuver, what are you doing? How many forts do you intend to make? Tempire's going to attempt raiding, but he's really only going to be able to pick off some villages on the outskirts here. He'll get one there, and he'll actually double back. I think he must have been trying to get to these resources over here. Verhuver adding a market. He's going to probably set up for a age 3 town center down here because he's already got the rally point set. That villager killed by Tempire is going to be followed up with, I was going to say another, but no, he's not actually manually targeting. So he won't actually get any vills just yet. There we go. It's creeping forward. A lot of bowmen in the mix. The spear's going to chase off those lancers, but Tempire's attempting to push Verhuver now. Only got a couple of Asabara. So he doesn't have a huge amount to deal with these bowmen. Age 3 on the way. Tempire's down on population compared to Verhuver though. Verhuver, I think he needs to just maybe even let a couple of units die just so he can get some more Asabara here. Because I don't know how he can deal with Tempire's comp without maybe another 3 or 4 Asabara in the mix here. Tempire's already age 3 now as well. The Lancers though, Tempires is going to have to be careful to not lose all those into the bowmen. Asabara production for Verhuver's obviously going to start once he's made some pop space, so Tempire's going to need something to deal with Asabara here. Mounted archers are good, but Verhuver's just going to be able to get Peltus as well. So Tempire's sending everything. He's got a bit of resources in the bank here. Verhuver, not a huge amount of gold actually. Hasn't added that age... Well, he hasn't gone age 3 yet. Well, Tempires has managed to. There we go. Verhuver's age 3 finishing up. Gonna want to chuck that town center down there, I'd imagine, because he's already got that market. players. Very similar populations going into this one. 87 to 82, so Eco favouring Tempires. He's got a lot in the bank too, but not able to really continue pushing against Verhuver there. Obviously Verhuver got a few warships, so he's probably going to want to delete those, make army space, because it's kind of undoing the army size gap he could have, considering Tempires has got slightly more villages here, 88 to 84. Tempires is going to want to try and hit villages first before he worries about attacking any structures, whether it's markets or storehouses here. Verhuver's going to try and send his Asabara to clean this up, but in the meanwhile, Tempires is actually trying to creep forward, but it's not really paying off. He's just running headlong into the bowman, taking a lot of damage he doesn't need to. Gold mine finishing up there for Verhuver, which is just as well. He ends up saving a couple of villages out of that. Well, Tempires, that raid, not overly successful. He did get a couple of vills, but I mean the mine perished and then Verhuver transferred over through the walls anyway. So Verhuver with his double wall ups, how OP. He's missing a gate here. He's got double gate, single gate, double gate. Oh, single gate again. Tempires is walled in as well, but he's only got wood walls, which are weaker. Verhuver's gone for the first upgrade for walls, and on top of that, Babylonian walls. Until you get your first upgrade, they are squishier. So this will be an effective raid here for Verhuver. He's got just enough Asabara. He can cut down structures even with ease, so he'll snipe a couple of houses here. Well, Tempires is trying to push into him, but Tempires is going to find he can't actually keep training through this because he's losing houses, he's losing gardens, so this is a really nice push here for Verhuver. Saying that, Tempires is really cutting down his front line. There is a few Takabara in the mix, which is great for Tempires. I mean, great for Verhuver here. Tempires losing a couple of houses and a couple of gardens at this point. Even having villagers fight. So Verhuver making light work of Tempires' main army there. While this raid of his has actually been really effective. Tempires is a lot in the bank though, so he's able to replenish quite a bit here. He's got his third town centre. Needs to add in that gate though, because everything's just had to take a big trip the long way around there. Tempires is going to lose a bit of production. I don't know if this is wise to engage until he has a little bit more army here, because Verhuver's got a much bigger backline, much more damage output there. Even if a lot of it's focusing on the buildings, and you don't want Takabara and, you know, skirmishes and stuff in particular to be focusing on buildings, because they just deal bugger all damage to them with their innate 80 pierce armor. Well, Verhuver's eager to get that house. Is he going to get it? Yeah, he got it. Sorry, Tempires, I'm not trying to cheer against you. I want to see you win one, but that was a bit of a Hail Mary play there by Verhuver, sticking around attacking the houses. The Tempires losing a bit of production there, and plenty of food in the bank, a little bit of gold, not a lot of wood. Verhuver's close to maxed out at 180 pop there. Not going to be able to go age 4 for a little while. He's got to still get a number of caravans here, start banking up that gold. And start running out of gold over his side of the top of the map. But there is some here for him to take. He hasn't got any stone to just chuck a fort down though, or to go age 4, so Tempire's got plenty of stone access. Verhuver was going to start towering up. This is a bit of a weird play though, because there's a town centre there, so they're much stronger than towers. But is that an A10? Oh, okay. Maybe Verhuver's setting up to like tower A10 storehouse, tower, A10 storehouse, and just make it impossible for Tempires to actually fight him head on. This is a smart play from Verhuver. Like, Tempires town center here is a little bit cut off, and unless he is really confident he can defend, you know, pretty much army to army, Verhuver's going to make a very decisive push here. A lot of villagers going to die. They're 67 and 93, and it was about 85 to 93 before. It's a very big push here from Verhuver, sniping a lot of eco. Really takes off the pressure here. Doesn't have to worry about adding a fortress to the top here just yet as well because of all this. Tempires is really concentrating on making sure his own market's going to be safe here, adding a fortress there defensively. A lot of royal guards here for Tempires, so these guys really quite hardy. Start adding the chariot archers too. Great damage and amazing range. They're able to just sit all the way back there. But there's not a lot of front line left here for Tempires. Verhuver also starting to really dwindle on the population though, and he's got to cross a fairly large amount of map. Tempire's going to start walling himself in now. This third town center, I think, will ultimately be taken out here. Verhuver forcing Tempires back now, and Tempires just starting to really trail on score. He doesn't have any melee armor at all. He's only got ranged armor. And melee and ranged damage upgrades. Verhuver, a much better mix of upgrades here. Having all of his melee armor, all of his ranged armor, all his ranged damage and melee damage. So Verhuver has all his Age 3 upgrades. Tempires doesn't, and he's even lacking Age 2 melee armor. So it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle for him here. He's trying to take the fight, but this is actually really paying off for Verhuver. He probably could do with one more Aid 10 over here, but otherwise, if he can finish this tower, it's going to be extremely difficult for Tempires to keep pushing. GG. Verhuver takes the game. A bit of a nice back and forth there, but Verhuver ultimately just taking a really decisive fight there, punishing Tempire's third town center. Maybe Tempires would have been best off having it up here, just like pretty much a coin flip of Verhuver's base, like a big reverse of it. Because as much as this gave him a lot of control of that gold, once he sort of gets pushed off this spot, maybe he could have had the fortress here too. Oh, GG, well played.